Get any money from Costello?
No.
And did you ever get any money from Myalansky?
I never got money from any of those fellas.
None of those
None
fellas?
of those fellas. None of these that I've been reading about, and none that I knew. They never gave me anything.
None of the Fichettes?
No.
You
I
think-
don't even speak to the... I mean, I met that Charlie once or twice. I don't even talk to him.
You don't like him?
I was conscious of the fact that he had a reputation for being an outstanding bookmaker.
You ever hear him referred to as the Prime Minister of the Underworld?
That term I did not.
Also known as Duck Corella. I refuse to answer on the grounds of negligent. You got any business? I refuse to answer on the grounds of attempt to criminal. You have any profession? I refuse to answer on the grounds of negligent. You have any occupation? I refuse to answer on the grounds of negligent. Are you a known racketeer?
Good evening. Welcome to Interrogation, the show where we take a look at law enforcement interrogation videos. And myself, Jason, law enforcement officer, and Lucian, and sometimes Lamar, who may be in here shortly, who are Intel Service veterans. We kind of break down what's going on with investigators and interrogators. What tactics do they use to suck confessions out of people who have a lot to lose by letting the truth come out into a small room? But let's welcome tonight. We've got Jason. Jason, introduce yourself.
Jason, law enforcement, 30 years, investigations, narcotics patrol, school cop. I'm on exit 3D responses.
Yes, sir. And then we've also have Lucian. Lucian argues on X. Lucian, introduce yourself.
Hi, Joe. Thanks. I have kind of a counterintelligence background, do something called counter-subversion, which means I take both technical and behavioral approaches to prevent people from getting into things, but also kind of use those skills for elicitation and looking for opportunities, I guess we should say. I've been doing that for a little over 2 decades.
In the biz, we call you a spook. You got shady deeds and tasks that you do, but you guys do use a lot. We've had a lot of discussion kind of back and forth. You guys do use a lot of the same type of tactics that law enforcement uses. Correct. But guys, we have a long video tonight. We're going to talk about, this is a Canadian case, some slight differences with some of the legal aspects of it, but very similar. Very interesting case out of 2010 is when this interrogation was going on about a Canadian Air Force colonel. This guy had flown for the Queen. He'd flown for the Prime Minister of Canada one time. He was a base commander on the largest Canadian Air Force base in Canada at the time of this interrogation. But I'm going to kick it off, guys, because we've got a lot to watch here. It's going to be pretty interesting. Let's get started.
You just have a seat there, Russell. The guy I was speaking with on whatever night that was Russ as well.
Oh, yeah.
And he took every number I had.
Yeah, no, they were doing some pretty thorough interviews that night. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I was
All right.
glad to see it.
I'm just going to move your gloves here. That's a little microphone, just to make sure there's nice and clear. As you can see here, everything in this room is videotaped and audio taped.
Check.
You ever been interviewed by the police in a room like this before?
I
Or?
have never been interviewed like this.
Oh, no? Okay.
No.
Let's get this set up here.
I guess the closest to interview by NIS for top secret clearance.
Oh, yeah? All right. Well, again, Russell, I appreciate you coming in. An investigation like this, I mean, I'm sure you can appreciate it's been big news, especially down Belleville way. And, you know, obviously our approach to cases like this is that we don't give up on somebody being alive until we get evidence that they're not. So because of that, we're treating Jessica's case as an emergent situation, obviously. Yeah. So we're fast forwarding things that we might normally take our time with, and that's why we're here on a Sunday afternoon. Sure. So again, I appreciate it. Okay. We're going to do a pretty thorough interview today. Okay. And the reason for that is because the last thing we want is to be calling people back again and again and again. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over a number of things, and I'm going to explain what all those are to you. Okay. I'm a big coffee guy. I don't know if you're a coffee guy or not, but I didn't want to drink in front of you. So
no, I appreciate that.
All right, go ahead.
I could definitely. Are they black?
Yeah, they're just black with sugar.
Definitely. I just started my probably have it a little bit.
Started your what, sorry?
Gum. Just
okay.
first piece of gum.
Well, there's napkins there if you want to toss it or whatever.
I appreciate that.
Okay, so this guy's pretty confident, right? Comes in chewing gum, smiling, no problem, very friendly. Any comments on that, Jason or Lucian?
No, at this point, everything seems fine, and he seems try to give an appearance to be cooperative.
Yeah, nothing to add to that. He's there's no tell at this point.
Okay, but this is also the part of the interrogation where the interrogator he's setting the scene. He's setting the stage to start digging in. Just a little note, this interrogator, last name is Smith. I can't remember his first name, but he works with a behavioral unit, maybe out of the Canadian Royal Mounted Police, but some sort of Canadian police officer, but works in a behavioral unit. Pay attention, both of you guys, pay attention to the way he guides this interrogation. It's actually not too bad. Let's listen up.
All right, and again, like I said, this interview is going to be very thorough. But again, I have a simple rule when I talk to people. It's I'm sure you're the same way. I treat everybody with respect. I don't want to ask if they do the same for me. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off by going through what your rights are. Okay? Just like everybody else. Okay. Have you ever read your rights before?
No.
Yeah, I'm sure you've seen it on TV a whole bunch of times, but that's usually the American version. So I'll go over with you briefly. Okay. Basically, in Canada, as you know, I'm sure, is we all have our rights guaranteed under the Charter of Rights and Freedoms.
Right.
Okay. Now, Russell, just to avoid any confusion, because people do get confused when they're talked to by the police, is that you're obviously not under arrest here today. Okay.
Yep.
Anytime you feel you want to leave here, you feel free to do so. The door's not locked. Teresa will walk you down the lobby anytime you want. Okay. If there's anything that comes up in our interview today, Russell, that you feel you want to talk to a lawyer about, you just let me know. Okay. Sure. And the reason for that is I want to explain to you exactly what's going on here. Okay. Jessica Lloyd is one of 4 cases that we're currently investigating. Okay. Right. And essentially what's happened is over the past about 4 or 5 months, there have been 4 occurrences, that, like I said, that we're looking into. 2 of those occurrences occurred in September of 2009. And very briefly, they were up in the Tweed area. They involved somebody entering 2 different women's houses in the evening hours and committing sexual acts. Okay. In November of 2009, a young lady by the name of Marie-France Como was found murdered in her home in Brighton. And we believe that there was a sexual component to that crime as well. And then most recently we have Jessica Lloyd's disappearance. Okay, so essentially when you're looking at those kind of crimes, we're looking at a number of different potential criminal charges. All right, we're looking at issues all the way from the most serious one, which is first-degree murder, kidnapping, sexual assault, break and enter with intent to commit sexual assault, forcible confinement. Okay, and so what I want to make sure you understand, and this is what we've been doing with everybody we've been talking to, is that clearly when we find out who's responsible for one or all of those crimes, they could be charged with one or all of those offenses. Okay, whether it's you or whether it's anybody else. All right. And that's why it's important that we make sure that people understand what they have to do and what they don't have to do when they're talking to us. Okay? So as I said before, any point today you feel the need, you want to speak to a lawyer, you let me know, and
Okay.
we can take you to a room where you can do that in private. Okay.
Okay.
Do you have your own lawyer?
I have a realty lawyer, but
Okay.
no, I don't have a lawyer.
All right. If at any point you want to make that call and you don't know who to call, we have a phone list of lawyers that are available to give you advice free of charge right over the phone.
Okay.
So again, if at any point today you want to take advantage of that, you just let me know.
Sure.
Is there any reason you want to call a lawyer now?
Nope.
Okay. A couple other fairly simple and straightforward things that you probably understand, but again, we go over them to make sure everybody's clear, is that you don't have to speak to me today, okay?
Okay.
And the reason for that is because the law considers me authority, okay? Probably similar to what you may be considered to be on the base.
Yeah.
And because of that, I can be compelled to appear before any judge in the country, basically, to account for what takes place here today between you and I, okay?
Sure.
And that's the reason why everything's recorded,
Yeah, understood.
because there can't be any more accurate record than that, right? So,
No, understood.
and the other thing I want to make sure you understand is that, you know, you mentioned a second ago about Miss Como being one of your work associates. So I don't know what's happened since November on the military side of things. But what we want to make people clear on is that if you have been spoken to by any person in authority or any police officer about any of those cases, I don't want what they may have said to you to make you feel influenced or compelled to say anything to me today, okay? Whatever you might have felt influenced or compelled to say to them earlier, you don't have to repeat it to me and you don't have to say anything further, okay?
Okay.
But obviously what you do say, you know, for the third time is being recorded, right? So,
Understood. These first two attacks happened not that far from my place in Tweed. Well, the second one did.
yeah,
We didn't even know the first one had happened, but I understand that was reasonably close as well. But the second one was very close.
yeah,
So certainly at the time, the OPP did a door-to-door.
yeah.
And within a couple of days, probably the same night. So I spoke with a couple of guys then.
Okay. Yeah, and I'm aware of that from looking at the different cases. And essentially, Russell, in a nutshell, that's what we wanted to talk to you about, okay? Those four cases are of concern to us. And, you know, you've kind of almost hit the nail on the head about some of our issues that kind of make us want to talk to Russell Williams, okay? Because essentially, there was a connection between you and all four of those cases. Would you agree? Geographically,
And then I guess
or
I drive past. Yes, I would have to say there's a connection. Yeah.
yeah, and that's why I'll be quite frank with you. That's why things kind of evolved when the officers talked to you on Thursday night.
Okay.
We kind of went from there because when I think you discussed with them the fact that you were a colonel
Yeah.
at the base.
I was in uniform at the time, so.
Yeah, so pretty obvious, right?
Yeah.
So essentially, then the connection with Miss Como
Yeah.
was made, and I believe you're a door or two down from one of those two incidents
I think
in Tweed.
3 doors down. Yeah.
Yeah,
Very close. Absolutely.
yeah, exactly. So those are some of the issues we wanted to discuss with you.
Yeah.
Okay. So just getting back to these four incidents that we're talking about. Maybe you could just give me a little bit of history as to your arrival in the base in Trenton. When did you start working there?
Friday on the day I was. Friday on the day I was at home most of the time. Most of the day I had a sort of a stomach flu.
Okay. In Ottawa or Tweed?
In Tweed.
In Tweed? Okay.
Yeah.
So we backtrack then. So all day Friday, you're at home,
Yeah.
and then what time do you leave to go to the base to sleep there on the Friday night?
So again, even though this is in Canada, he's doing the same thing. Am I right, Jason and Lucian? He's got the legal stuff out of the way. Now he's laying the foundation for this guy to lock himself into a story. Are you guys seeing it the same way?
Yeah, he's letting him talk and get his side of it.
I think this guy's doing a pretty good job. Go ahead, Lucian.
I was just going to say, I think it's interesting. The only thing I've seen so far is a pause now and then when the interrogator or investigator, whatever, says something about, you know, hey, we want to talk to you. You're basically a person of interest. And he lays out all the, the position of authority. He's laying a lot of stuff out, I think, to establish a peer level with the suspect. But the suspect is doing some interesting stuff. He's very consistent, and I only saw one or two little facial tics that would make me start to wonder if he's worried at this point or not.
Lucian, I got a question for you. If you
Yeah.
don't mind. The gum chewing. Do you think without the gum, would more facial tics be present? Is he? I don't know.
He's able to burn off some energy with the gum.
Yeah, it's just he's a pretty heavy gum chewer going on here.
Yeah, and that's so without knowing whether that's a normal routine habit for him or not, it's difficult to tell. But it definitely does have the ability to mask some of the smaller tells. But if you notice, what I was pointing to, and you'll probably see it again, is the corner of his mouth tightens a little bit more, which is not necessarily something you normally do when you chew gum. But you'll see that line in this video. It's a little difficult to tell, but watch for that line in the corner of his mouth to get long when he pauses.
Well, let me ask you this. What if we're dealing with someone who's a psychopath, who doesn't have empathy, has that ability? Do you think that reduces the amount of tells or tics, the stress that your physiology you're expecting to see?
Oh, absolutely. Because the subconscious there comes into play, right? And there will be some things that some people just can't hide, but that's unique to an individual. But in this case, if he's absolutely convinced that he's either smarter than somebody else, and I'm making an assumption just for the illustration, if he's smarter than, or he's very confident, then the stress responses are very much subdued.
Absolutely. I think he's not giving up much, but yeah, I agree. I think the gum could be burning off some nervous energy, but let's keep watching.
Not sure. Probably just went in for just before bed. So I probably left Tweed at between 8 and 9 or so.
Okay. And you get to the base and spend the evening there and get up for the 5:30?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's right.
So we backtrack from there. When did you arrive at your home at the cottage? I don't want to get confused between your home in Ottawa and the home in Tweed. So,
no, I had been in Tweed all week.
Yeah.
The week prior now. Yeah, I think that's the case. Was in Tweed all week. Flew Saturday. Headed to Ottawa Saturday night.
Okay. So if you didn't have the stomach flu on the Friday, what was your schedule that day?
8, really.
Okay.
What would have been my schedule? Just a standard schedule in the office.
Okay.
So office brief in the morning, a couple of meetings. I can't remember what the specifics were going to be.
Okay. So Thursday night you slept at Tweed, or you?
Yep.
All right. And what did you do Thursday during the day?
Thursday during the day I was at the base again. I think it was a fairly standard day. I can't recall exactly, but yeah, nothing. I was not flying, so I was at the base. So I would have gone in early in the morning, back in the evening again.
Okay. Do you remember what time you left the base that night?
I don't remember anything peculiar, so I would say, I don't know, probably 7 to 9, somewhere in that range.
Okay. And that's when you left?
Left the base, yeah.
And what it was?
That's a 45-minute transit. So
45 minutes home?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, I'm not going to walk you through November, but I'm going to take you to a date that's probably pretty fresh in your mind, the day that Marie-France coma.
Yeah.
Do you remember how you found out?
I do. Yeah, I was sent an email. Well, as soon as the ops staff and the base.
Just real quick, because it can get a little confusing. They're going to talk about a few different women. Initially is the missing Lloyd woman. At this point during this interview, they don't know where she's at. So they're searching for her. But prior to this, there was another lady that was found dead in her house, not far from his house, that also works at the same Air Force base. She's a corporal in the Canadian Air Force at the time. And yes, Derps, this is a Canadian case.
Learned, they told me.
Okay.
So I got an email. I can't remember if it was late at night, early in the morning. It was certainly, I saw it, I want to say first thing in the morning, because I had just come back from Ottawa. I
That
was in
forehead
Ottawa
mustache is going to get in everybody's eye tonight.
a set of meetings on one of the days. I can't remember what day of the week we're talking about, but yeah, no, I mean, obviously when your people gets killed, it gets your attention. So
Absolutely.
yeah, I very much remember that coming in.
And how did you know Marie-France Coleman?
I'd only met her once. She was on a crew I was on just after I got to the base.
Okay.
So I can't even remember. I think it was a one-day trip. I did a number of trips in Canada, transporting our troops, sort of first leg out of Edmonton. We tend to hopscotch them across until they get into theater. So anyway, I can't remember which trip it was, but we did a number of them out to Edmonton just to pick up the troops, bring them to Trenton, and then put a fresh crew on, and because we'd fly out and back in the same day, so pushing the edge of that, and fresh crew on, and they'd continue on after a couple hour delay.
Okay. Do you know roughly when that happened?
That we were on the same crew?
The time you met her, the one time there, yeah.
It was soon after I got to the base, so I don't remember exactly, but I would say in the first couple of months, so August, September.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, you got that email notifying you that something had happened.
Yeah.
Do you have any kind of a clear recollection as to how your schedule was going that week?
Well, I can't remember what day that the message came in. Just a second. No, I can't remember what day of the week, but I just think there was a whole bunch of activity spun up as a result, obviously.
All right, Murphy's Law, formerly Murphy's Law, brings up a good comment that he's very forgetful for a colonel. But this is something, folks, or my interrogators, this is something we see from people when we're doing the initial dance, laying foundation in an interview, especially when people have something to hide, maybe. They seem to have a tendency to be very vague, and they give you the cursory, well, it was a Sunday. I don't remember what Sunday. They always seem to leave themselves some room to go back and try to fix things in the beginning. Do you see that as well, Jason?
Yeah, typically they will tell you what they want you to hear, and they will not. They'll keep everything else close to the chest, and that's through the process of questioning and talking, where you can jam them up. But right now, the interrogator is letting him talk, and he's getting a sense of what this guy wants him to hear, which will provide clues, I'm assuming, later on down in the questioning. But
he's given such a story that's vague enough that if it comes out to be a problem later, he can come back. He's given himself room to repair it by not being very detailed. Like if you ask me and I say, hey, it was Sunday, the April 1st, then it's going to be hard for me to come back. I'm going to have to either say I was incorrect or I completely lied if that date changes, just giving an example. But he's giving such a general story that I think it gives him room to come back and plug in. And once again, we're assuming that he's guilty. If he's a guilty person sitting at the seat, there may be a point where he has to come back and repair things and fix things. But let's keep going. I just think it's interesting how general he is in the beginning.
I can't remember the day of the week. I'm just trying to think through the news reports I read. No, I'm sorry, I can't remember what day that was, but what we learned after the fact was that the MPs had learnt of her death, I think quite a bit after her body had been discovered.
Okay.
So I think what happened, sorry, just a second. So I think, if I remember correctly, the MPs learned late that evening. Can't remember when, obviously, her body was discovered. It was probably in the news reports. But so they learned, and then they passed it to ops. So they immediately passed it to me.
Okay.
The MPs work for the wing operations officer, so they go, through their chain of command, and then as soon as the duty watch officer had that information, she advised me.
Okay. So again, that particular week.
Along with some others.
Right. I'm sure it spread like wildfire.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that particular week, do you have any recollection? Well, for instance, when you got the email,
Yeah.
do you remember where you were?
I was at home in Tweed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you remember if that was a week that you were reasonably stable in Trenton, or had you flown?
No, I had been in Ottawa. I had been in Ottawa earlier in the week for some meetings over in Gatineau for one of the. It's actually for the C-17 acquisition. I was project director when I was here in Ottawa for that, so just some follow-up stuff for that.
Okay.
So I had been here at some point in that week. Again, I can't remember how the days all fell together, but I seem to remember that I got this word shortly after having come back from Ottawa. It seems to me it was the same week.
So if we were to do a similar investigation in your background, is there anything you can think of that anybody may have misinterpreted, or anything in your history that somebody might say Russell Williams
Absolutely
did this?
No.
Okay.
Be very boring.
What's that?
It'll be very boring.
All right, because essentially that's what I'm looking at. Is it? You seem like a very intelligent person, and I think you can see how a surprise like that would certainly set off some alarm bells in an investigation, right? Okay. So the next thing we need to cover off is, I'll just ask you this straight out. Given the types of crimes we're investigating, do you get much chance to watch television shows, CSI, things like that?
I do watch. I prefer Law and Order, but I do watch CSI occasionally. Yes.
Okay.
Boy, they did it in Canada, Jason. They threw out the CSI. Do either one of you guys figure out why that's significant? Why this interrogator would bring up a television show in such a serious setting?
You want that, Jason?
No, go ahead. I'm actually laughing, but go ahead.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, there's so in screening people for even security issues, a lot of times you ask what kind of things do they think about fictional characters. Do they cheer for the villain who got away with something because they're really, really clever? And I think I don't really watch those two shows, I have to admit, but I would assume most fictionalized TV crime involves a range of offenders, some of whom are very sneaky and tricky and get away with things on technicalities.
Well, I think CSI is brought up because it kind of unveils or gives some insight into what police are able to do. I believe this interrogator is about to start. He's going to, I think we're done with the dancing phase, the foundation phase. I think he's going to start turning the screws here. And in the CSI is a way to do it. Because if he says, what about DNA? Well, you understand DNA from CSI. It's like, oh, well, yeah, it's pretty powerful on the television show. So he's laying the foundation here to I think turn the screws and get in a little deeper. But let's see. I thought the CSI was pretty good. You want to say anything about it, Jason?
No, it just a way to kind of lighten the mood of where the conversation is going to go and kind of put his mindset of, all right, I'm assuming some evidence is going to come up now because of that question. But we'll see.
Yeah, I don't think it's. I disagree. I don't, and of course, I did the editing on this guy, so I kind of know a little bit more than you do. But it's not to lighten the mood; it's to increase the pressure here. But let's watch it.
So you have an idea of obviously the forensic capabilities, things like that are out there. What would you be willing to give me today to help me move past you in this investigation?
What do you need?
Well, would you be willing to supply things like fingerprints, blood samples,
Sure.
things like that?
Yeah.
Okay. Footwear impressions.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I think that's what we're gonna ask you to do.
Okay.
All right. Now we have a process we have to go through to do that.
Okay.
And for the blood sample, I don't take the blood sample. We have specially trained officers that are trained to do that.
Okay.
I'm going to step out and make sure they're still available.
Can I assume you're going to be discreet?
It's possible. Yeah.
Because this would have a very significant impact on the base if they thought you thought I did this.
Well, bottom line, Russell, that's one of the reasons we're here on a Sunday afternoon.
Okay.
The military certainly be of great assistance to us, especially in relation to Miss Como's investigation. So that's certainly one of the things that went into our decision to give you a call at home today and see if we could deal with this today.
Okay.
So, okay.
Because it's tough to undo the rumor mill once it gets started. But I appreciate that.
Okay. Now that you've had some time to, I know we've been throwing a lot of things at you here, but now you've had some time to think about things. Is there anything that you're concerned about that buccal swab matching in any of those 4 residences? Is there, I guess, let me explain what I'm getting at here, Russell, okay? This is a significant investigation, as you can well imagine.
Yeah.
That DNA is going to be significant in our investigation, both quite possibly to help you, quite possibly to help us.
Understood.
I don't know yet. I don't know what the result is yet.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll go back to the example I gave you because it's a very similar issue, I think. And you talked about the idea of discretion here. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You talked about the idea that I think hopefully you appreciate the fact of how we approached you here.
Yeah, absolutely.
And essentially, we have no issues with that. Okay. We talked recently about the whole idea of any unusual sex acts in your history.
Mm-hmm.
But another thing that can often happen in cases like this is that people become concerned about things like extramarital affairs, indiscretions along those lines.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any contact that you may have had with any of those 4 women that you may not want your wife to be aware of? Anything like that we should know about to try and explain why, if your DNA is found, it would help us understand why it may be there?
Absolutely not.
Okay. Can you think of any reason why we would find your DNA in any of those residences? Let's focus on, well, for instance, I believe, let me just check the name there, make sure I've got the right address. I'm talking about the house that was just a couple of doors down from you there in Tweed.
A couple of doors down was Lori. I don't know her last name. I don't know.
Mazzacati?
I don't even know what her last name is, but there's the woman down the road, 3 doors down. Her name is Lori. I don't know her last name.
All right, let me just make sure we're on the same page here. Okay. My understanding is she lived at 76 Cozy Cove. Yeah, so she would be the second one. The second incident on your road there.
Yeah.
A couple of doors down. Ever been in her house?
No. We met her once, I think the first summer we were there, so in 2004.
Okay. And that's what I'm getting at. Again, this is a credibility issue, right?
Yeah.
Because I don't want to come and see you 2 weeks from now and say, Russ, our CSI people were in that house and...
Okay, so they've asked him for a buccal swab, which is a DNA sample, swab out of the mouth. They don't have that back yet. Now, this investigator's laying down. It's like, well, if you remember back, he talked about if we were in this room and we left and CSI come in later, they would find samples from you and I in this room because we don't, now with modern technology, we don't need very much to make a conclusion. So he's laid this down. He voluntarily gave up DNA samples with the buccal swab. Now that the investigator's coming back, now that the suspect knows that they have his DNA, he's given that up. Now he's laying down. He's like, well, what if I find your DNA in this house or these other houses? And folks, I know I started this out. This was about Miss Lloyd missing, and it is exactly. But there was another homicide a few weeks, or a short time before the Lloyd woman became missing. There's also a few others of women who have been sexually assaulted in a manner of an intruder, a prowler breaking into the house, tying them up, restraining them, forcing them to perform some sort of sex acts, and the guy taking a lot of pictures. But he had it disguised on. Nobody knew who this was. So now he's talking. Some of these people he's talking about are women that survived an encounter with a intruder that law enforcement at this point believes are connected, close proximity, and a few other things that show that they're connected. But once again, he's laying down the foundation for this guy to give a different story or try to clean up. Well, maybe I was in her house at this one time, but the colonel's holding strong that you shouldn't find my DNA in any of these victims' houses.
Are you familiar with how DNA works?
I think broadly, yes, I would guess so.
One of the challenges we have in 2010 with DNA is it's become so precise that I guess the best way to explain it is I can think back to 15 years ago when I started in violent crime investigation.
Yeah.
For us to get a DNA match, the sample we had to find was, probably would have filled half of one of these cups. Because they destroy so much of the sample in the testing.
Okay.
Essentially, DNA has become more and more precise to the point where when you and I walked in this room earlier today, we could have sat down, talked for 30 seconds, walked out. CSI officer could have come in 3-4 days from now, did some swabs here, and he would have found your DNA and my DNA, and probably a lot of other people's DNA.
Sure.
A little bit gross to think about, but essentially, as we talk, a little bit aspirate comes out of our mouth that contains our DNA, our bloods, or our skin cells contain our DNA, and that's what I'm getting at. If you were ever in Laurie's residence, quite possibly, quite innocently, your DNA could be in that residence. Has there ever been a time you've been in there?
No.
Okay. What about the other lady down the road on?
I hadn't even heard that name, so no, I don't actually know who that was.
Okay. Have you ever visited Marie France Como at her residence?
No.
Okay. All right. So you're quite positive there would be no reason why your DNA would be in any of those 3 locations. Okay. Did you know Jessica Lloyd even in passing for any reason?
No, I didn't hear her name till it was on the news.
Okay. And the reason I'm asking that is because I know you were asked that question on Thursday night, and sometimes what we find, and again, this is one of those situations that can sometimes cause us to get in a lengthy investigation as somebody that maybe doesn't deserve it. But what can happen sometimes is somebody gets stopped by the police like you did, and they get asked that question, and people, when they're stopped by the police, they can be nervous, okay? So they blurt out an answer, and then they start driving away, and they go, oh, why'd I do that? Because the problem is that once they get asked again, then they feel compelled to maintain that answer for fear that if they change their answer, somebody could find it. You understand what I'm saying?
I do.
Okay. So I want to make sure that's not happening here. I don't care what you said to the officers on Thursday night last week. If there's any communication or contact between you and Jessica Lloyd, you've seen her picture, right, around town?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Ever seen her before?
I don't. No, I would say I have not.
Okay. All right. All right. And you mentioned something about doing some renovations at your property in Tweed there. I think you said something earlier about tearing up carpet. Correct me if I'm wrong, but
oh yeah.
Okay. When did all that happen?
In 2004 or 5.
Okay. Any recent renovations?
No.
Okay. All right. Just want to make sure I'm covering all the bases here. Okay. What kind of tires do you have on your Pathfinder?
I think they're Toyo.
Okay. Do you know the brand name, or sorry, the
I think
make?
that is I don't. I'm sorry, the make is Toyo.
Yeah.
I don't know the model.
Okay. Just see, I'll read this off to you, see if it rings a bell. Ever heard of, does Toyo Open Country HTS
That sounds
make any
right.
sense?
Yeah.
Okay. When did you have those tires put on your Pathfinder?
Well, it's the second version we've had of them, so I think it might have been this past fall. They replaced other ones we'd had on the same.
Okay.
Well, Toyo, I can't say that they were the same, exactly the same model, but our dealership here in Ottawa says they're very popular for the Pathfinder, so
Okay.
they were good. They lasted a long time.
All right. I've had to. I think you were talking about the whole idea of the MPs helping us with our investigation, stuff like this. You have the same system as we do at our headquarters with the swipe cards. One of the things one of our investigators did is they made a call while I was talking to you there because we were trying to work through that week of the 23rd of November.
Okay.
23rd being the Monday, 24th being the Tuesday.
Okay.
What they've told us is that, and I want to make sure I get this right, is that on the 23rd, your swipe card was being used at the base. Okay.
Okay.
On Tuesday 24th, there was no use of your swipe card.
Okay.
And then on the following days, the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, there was what appeared to be average activity of your
Okay.
swipe card in the base. Does that make sense to you?
It does. That says that I was in Ottawa on the Tuesday.
Okay. Do you remember where in Ottawa you were?
Yeah, I was in Gatineau with, as I said, meeting about the C-17.
Okay. Now, again, I want to be fair to you here, but going back 2 months,
Yeah.
are you sure that would have been the day you were in Ottawa?
Well, only because I wasn't at the base.
Okay.
So I can't remember, honestly, that that's the day I had the meeting in Ottawa, but if I wasn't at the base, it was because I was here.
Okay. Now, if that is the day you had a meeting in Ottawa, do you remember being at the base on the Monday, the 23rd, and swiping your card in and out? Do you remember what you would have done that evening to get to Ottawa for that meeting? Like, would it be...
I drove to Ottawa in the morning of the day of my meeting, so if it was the Tuesday, then I would have left Tweed. It was a very foggy morning
Okay.
that morning. I drove in that morning.
Okay.
So I would not have been at the base the day I was in Ottawa, because the meeting started at 8:30 or something.
Okay. So you leave the base, you would have went home to your residence in Tweed,
Yep.
and then you left Tweed in the morning and drove up to your meeting in Ottawa.
Yep.
Okay. You leave the meeting in Ottawa is a daytime meeting, evening meeting, or do you remember?
Yeah, it was a daytime meeting, finished, I don't know, mid-afternoon or so.
Okay.
We had lunch and then finished. I think my wife and I had dinner because she was here for work, and then I headed back.
Okay. Well, these are the kind of things I'm trying to draw out here. That's helpful to us. Do you remember where you had dinner?
Well, I don't remember exactly the restaurant, but it was in Westboro because that's where our house was being built at the time. So we had dinner, in a restaurant that we would expect to be able to frequent once the house was finished.
Okay. Remember how you paid?
One of us would have paid by MasterCard, I think.
Okay. Are you sure about that, or?
Pretty sure. That's normally how we
Okay.
pay for meals.
All right.
Can't remember if it was me or my wife that paid, but one of us.
Okay. And do you remember which restaurant it was again?
No.
Okay. All right. And you see what I'm getting at, right? I mean, that can be very helpful for us because we can track that issue, right?
Yeah.
We can put somebody paying for a meal at a location.
Well,
with a
I was
credit card.
meeting with 15 people or so that day, so
Okay. And what time did the meeting end?
I would say between 3 and 4.
Okay. And are you sure that that's the same day you went out with your wife?
Well, I think so. Yeah, because she was here, and I think that was the day we went to this restaurant in Westboro, yes.
Okay. You finished dinner, and do you remember what you did that evening?
I would have driven back to Tweed.
Okay. And you would have... Now, again, I know we're talking 2 months ago here, but do you remember specifically having dinner and then driving back to Tweed, or do you remember... are you just guessing here?
No, I'm not really guessing. I mean, I believe that this night at this restaurant was following the meetings in Ottawa.
Mm-hmm.
And I, kissed my wife goodbye and headed back to Tweed to go to work the next day.
Okay. All right. The tires that you have on your truck, right? The reason I asked you about that is there any time? I mean, you recall where you were stopped by the officers there?
Yes.
Okay. Did they explain to you what the significance
Said
of
that
that
was her
location
house.
That was her house.
Yeah.
Okay. So you remember that location?
Yep.
Do you remember what the crossroad was, or?
I don't think there's a crossroad. It's sort of just on the south end of 37.
Okay. When you get stopped at that location, has there been a time in the recent 1 or 2 weeks that your vehicle has left that road for any reason whatsoever? Have you driven into a field with your vehicle at all? For any reason you can think of?
No.
Okay. Because I want you to rack your brain here. This is important. So,
Yeah.
is there anything you can remember doing that would have caused you to drive off the road
No.
at that section of roadway?
No, that's my early. That's the early part of the highway, and just head north. It's about 30 minutes from there to, probably 20 from there to my house.
Okay. Would it surprise you to know that when the CSI officers were looking around her property, that they identified a set of tire tracks to the north of her property? Looks as if the vehicle left the road and drove along the north tree line of Jessica Lloyd's property. Okay.
Okay.
They took, they examined those tire tracks. And they have contacts in the tire business. Obviously, tire tracks are a major source of evidence for us.
Sure.
Shortly after this investigation started, they identified those tires as the same tires on your Pathfinder.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. One of the other things that they do to try and identify the type of vehicle that may have left those tires, well, is they do two things. They talk to witnesses. Okay. There was a female police officer that actually drove by that location that evening and recalls seeing an SUV type vehicle in the field up to the north of Jessica Lloyd's house, consistent with a Pathfinder.
Okay.
Could maybe consistent with other things, but consistent with a Pathfinder. And they, what they also do to try and identify the type of the vehicle is they look at what they call the wheelbase width, okay? Because different vehicles, different makes, models have wheelbase width. So they can take those two sets of tire tracks, measure the distance between them, okay, and determine what the width is.
Sure.
And then they can enter that into a vehicle database, and it will spit out the types of vehicles, okay? Your Pathfinder's wheelbase width is very, very close to the width of the tires that were left in that field, okay? Do you have any recollection at all of being off that road?
No, it was not off the road, no.
Okay. All right.
Okay, so he's tightening the screws on what they do know. He's letting it go a little at a time. I don't know that the colonel here has put 2 and 2 together on this just yet. But have y'all noticed anything different in his demeanor as the questioning's gone on?
Yeah, I've if you notice the I don't know what happened to the gum, but his body tics are a little more pronounced. There was a point where you could see him shift his shoulders a little bit more, and if you watch, he's fidgeting in his seat a little bit, not a lot, but also his feet have been moved from out in front of him to under the desk to now underneath him.
I agree. He's definitely changed some posture. And there's a piece of this video we didn't see. It was edited before I got it, where they did the buccal swabs. I imagine that's where his gum went. They would have asked him to spit that out. But and Rain says is that his heart monitor. I think what you're hearing, they've got a microphone on the table itself, and as these guys are using the table to kind of make points and pushing on it, I think there's a pin that's rolling back and forth. There's something on that tabletop when they're bouncing on the table. It's making it rock. And until then, they probably can barely hear it, but that mic is picking it up. I agree with you, Range. It's driving me crazy, but I believe that's what I'm hearing. I was listening to it too. I think it's a pin that may be rolling back and forth. Jason, any comments on demeanor? Have you seen a change?
I agree. He's gotten much more fidgety. The one thing that, and innocent person at this point, when he says the tire stuff, or even before that, I would expect an innocent person to start to get a little angry and start saying, I didn't do this. I'm not seeing that with him. Like, he's not getting, are you accusing me of murdering? And he laid the charges out like this is a big deal. I think he still thinks that if he did do this, that he can get out of it. If he didn't do it, he's just playing along. But if he didn't do it, I would expect a normal person to say, I didn't effing kill these women. I didn't effing do this. That's kind of suspicious to me. Why?
And I agree. He's not pushing back on that. So what? I got tires that probably another 1,000 people in the same area have popular tire. He's not pushing back on any of that. But also, I'll go back to the criminal mind, is especially those that think they're kind of intelligent. They're still trying to figure out what the police have, and in his mind, he's thinking, if it's all you got is tires, then I'm good to go. Let's see how this continues.
Russell, is there anything you can think of? Let's go talk about Marie-France Como for a minute, okay?
Mhm.
Is there any reason at all you can think of that during our investigation, obviously we're searching computers, things like Blackberries, right?
Mm-hmm.
Electronic devices, looking through houses for things that are in handwriting, written notes, diaries, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not at liberty to tell you what the content was, but is there any reason at all you can think of why Marie-France Como would have specifically referenced you in some of her writings?
Not at all.
No?
No, absolutely not.
Okay. Is there anything that she ever said to you that led you to believe that there might be something more than a passing interest with her towards you?
Not at all. No, we spent, one flight together talking. I'd go back occasionally and talk. No, if that's the case, that's very surprising.
Okay. All right. You have any questions for me right now?
No.
Okay. I'm just going to step out and see how things are going, okay? I mean, it is a Sunday, but there's probably 60, 70 people working on this file, so there's a lot of things happening.
Sure.
So let me go out and see what's happening, and then I'll come back in and we'll hopefully continue, okay? I told you when I came in here that I'm going to treat you with respect, and I've asked you to do the same for me. We talked about the whole idea of how we've approached you here, okay? The trying to be as discreet as possible, okay? But the problem is, Russell, is every time I walk out of this room, there's another issue that comes up, okay? And it's not issues that point away from you, it's issues that point at you, okay? And I want you to see what I mean, all right? This is the footwear impression of the person who approached the rear of Jessica Lloyd's house on the evening of the 28th and 29th of January, okay? All right? Now, I want you to keep in mind that this is slightly smaller, okay, in scale, okay?
Okay.
All right, that's not to scale. The footwear is actually bigger.
Okay.
If you look here on the ruler, you'll see that 1 inch is just slightly smaller than an actual inch, okay? But this is the way it prints off on the computer.
Yeah.
I'm going to move this over so you can see what I mean, all right? Because essentially when you're dealing with footwear impressions, we have a gentleman on the OPP who's basically world-renowned. His name is John Norman. And essentially with footwear impressions, you're in a situation where you're pretty much in the area of fingerprints, okay? And essentially what we're talking about here is, especially when you start adding in other pieces of information that support an investigative position, okay? This is a photocopy of the boot that you took off your foot just a little while ago, okay? Now, I'm not an expert in footwear impressions, so I rely on the experts. Footwear impressions are very much like fingerprint comparisons, okay? You take a look at this print, and again, this is one print. This person walked through, there's several different prints to compare, so we're going to get features off of one print to compare, features off another print to compare. These are identical. Okay. Your vehicle drove up the side of Jessica Lloyd's house. your boots walked to the back of Jessica Lloyd's house on the evening of the 28th and 29th of January. Okay, you want discretion. We need to have some honesty, okay? Because this is getting out of control really fast, Russell. Okay, really, really fast. This is getting beyond my control. All right, I came in here a few hours ago and I called you the way I called you today because I wanted to give you the benefit of doubt. Mm-hmm. But you and I both know you were at Jessica Lloyd's house, and I need to know why.
While he's pondering the evidence, the investigator just turned the notch up a little bit, turned the temperature up in the room a bit, didn't he?
Yeah, his response is interesting to me. If he talks after this, he's probably one of the dumbest people to be interrogated. Right now, he should have done attorney 20 minutes ago, but after this, it's attorney.
Yeah, I think he's pondering in his mind. He's doing the math in his mind. What does this really mean? Tires? Yeah. A lot of people buy these tires. Yeah, you can buy a lot of shoes. When he hit with unique as a fingerprint, that's got him baffled. Now, Lucian, you said something in the comments about the interrogator.
Yeah, he said so early on. He tried to establish a peer relationship, right? He's laying all this stuff out. You know, the technical parts. Let's agree that, you know, we both are smart guys. And now basically he's saying you're disrespecting me. I'm finding all of this stuff where, you know, I was listening to you and I believed you. And gosh, you seem to not be telling me everything. And, you know, that personally hurts me. That's a great technique because it plays on this guy's vision of himself being probably beyond reproach. Right? That's the image he wants to project. And, you know, he's being accused of insulting somebody's honor. I think that's a really interesting approach that I don't think would work with a whole lot of people.
But you're right. But that's a tactic that probably would work with even a Canadian Air Force colonel. Am I right?
I wouldn't know the specific.
You've never met a colonel.
Military service, all right?
You never met a colonel?
Oh no, I have, but I'm trying to be polite.
Well, I mean, my point is that they are someone whose integrity is not typically questioned in general without good cause. Sure.
I thought you were going somewhere with that. Sorry.
I'm trying to refrain from the Canadian Air Force jokes. I really am. So I'm not.
I didn't. I apologize. I went there in my head. So
I'm going to give this interrogator some props. Evidently, he's with the Ontario Provincial Police, the OPP. I'll let everybody just digest that for a minute. Imagine I'm so-and-so with the OPP. All right, let's finish this segment. We got two segments here. This is going to be the first part. Let's finish this up and see where the colonel goes with this information that's just been provided to him. Oh, another tactic. The interrogator leaves the room. A lot of this stuff's been edited when the interrogator leaves. You don't see the interim in there, but I think a lot of that's purposeful. I think they knew what they were going to do. It wasn't like, oh, he comes back in. It's like, oh my God, look, more stuff's coming up as we're in here talking. As we're in this room, things are happening outside of this room that you're isolated from. You don't know what's going on, but every time I go back out and come back in, I'm going to drop a little more information of, oh, look what we found here. I believed you before, but this is just different than what you just told me. I think that's a good tactic this interrogator's using. You intriguing.
Well, I don't know what to say. It's
well, you need to explain it because this is the other problem we're having, Russell. Okay, again, these decisions are made by me. Right now, there's a search warrant being executed at your residence in Ottawa. Okay? So your wife now knows what's going on. There's a search warrant being executed at your residence in Tweed, and your vehicle's been seized. Okay? You and I both know they're going to find evidence that links you to these situations. Okay? You and I both know that the unknown offender, male, on Marie France Comeau's body is going to be matched to you, quite possibly before the evening's over. Okay? This is a major investigation. The Center of Forensic Science is on call 24 hours a day helping us with this. Your opportunity to take some control here and to have some explanation that anybody is going to believe is quickly expiring. Okay? We're applying, the investigators now applying for a warrant to search your office. All right, these aren't decisions that we can say yes or no to. This is the practical steps in an investigation like this. And Russell,
another point, this interrogator is also very good about not talking too much. He's catching himself. But he's also, what has he done? He's laid out, hey, I got your shoe impressions. By the way, we're seizing your vehicle. I've got lab techs on 24-hour call. They've taken your buccal swab and they've flown it by helicopter to the lab. They're getting that stuff right now. There's a short window here where you can help yourself. He's laid all that out there. And that's going to be a lot for this colonel to accept. I mean, you've seized my vehicle. You're at my house with my wife right now, and you're searching my house. This is a horrible crime that he's being investigated for. I think all of this is a good tactic to turn the heat up to get this guy to break and come clean, or call for an attorney. What do you guys think?
I'm still shocked at his response. If somebody told me that we searched your house, we seized your car, I'm still going, I don't, that response of just a head nod, okay, that's not really acceptable. If it was my personal property you seized and I didn't do anything, his response to that is a major red flag for me.
I agree. I think folks, and I'm gonna go back to psychopath. And of course, I'm not a doctor, and I never have been. I can't diagnose. It's a category I put people in that do not have empathy. These are steely-eyed killers. The psychopath that I speak of. I think this guy's going to fall into that category. But by the investigator turning up the heat here, this guy is doing math in his head. Okay, you're at my house. What could you possibly find? You've got my tire impressions. What could that possibly mean? What are the odds that this is the thing that gets me? You have my foot impressions. You know, how accurate is that? I'm pretty sure he knows he's bought and paid for with the DNA, but he does have the benefit of analysis on his side, the time it takes to analyze that. And I think he's probably smart enough to realize that you're not going to walk out and get it. And I'll go back to the CSI in the very beginning. It was a good tactic for him to put that into the colonel's mind. Actually, I'm going to quit calling him a colonel. Williams's mind. That you've seen that on CSI. They solved the whole murder in a 1-hour episode, so that we can do the same thing. We do the same thing as what he's relaying out to this guy. And I think Williams right now is doing math in his head to determine how baked is he. But what do you think, Lucian?
No, I agree. He's trying to figure out the best course of action. The study, he's not even really looking at the evidence at this point. What he's doing is trying to figure out how to buy some more time, hoping something will occur to him, and trying to find if there was a hole in something the guy said previously. At this point, I'm not even sure if this guy is listening to the calculus of, if you talk now, you take more control. I think he's just dismissed that, and he's still trying to figure out where he's gonna find his escape route.
Yeah, I agree. He's looking to either find a way to explain off what you may find, if that's possible, or he's going in, well, how detailed is this search at my house? How much are they going to find at my house? But yeah, I think he's looking for some daylight, and math in his head's not working out right now. But let's go back and see what else he's got to say, see where this goes.
Russell, listen to me for a second, okay? When that evidence comes in, when that DNA match, when that phone rings and somebody knocks on this door, your credibility is gone, okay? Because this is how credibility...
One more time, he lays down that time's a ticking. You don't have a lot of time. If you're going to help yourself out, if you're going to mitigate this for yourself, time's now is what this interrogator is telling him. And I think that's I think it's a good tactic.
Works, all right? And I know you're an intelligent person and you probably don't need to hear this explanation, but I also know your mind's racing right now, okay? Because I've sat across a lot of people in your position over the years, okay? The bottom line is that as soon as we get that piece of evidence that solidifies it, DNA, okay? As soon as the expert in footwear impressions, the expert in tire impressions calls and says, yes, I've examined those and they're a match, it's all over. Because as soon as that happens, where's your credibility? Where's your believability? You're just another, and again, don't take this wrong, okay? But you can see if you step outside this room in your mind and imagine how people are going to view you, okay? If the truth comes out after the clear evidence is presented to you, when you finally go, okay, I'm screwed now, what are we going to do? Russell, you know there's only one option. What other option is there?
What's the option?
Well, I don't think you want the cold-blooded psychopath option. I might be wrong. Okay, because don't get me wrong, I've met guys who actually kind of enjoyed the notoriety, got off on it, got off on having that label. Bernardo being one of them. I don't see that in you. If I saw that in you, I wouldn't be back in here talking to you, quite frankly. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you got me fooled. I don't know. But this is over. And it can have a bad ending where Jessica's parents continue to wonder where her daughter's lying. And I don't know. I mean, obviously, there's a huge search still underway, and it'll continue. It'll continue until her body's found. That might even happen tonight, for all I know. Once that happens, then I don't know what other cards you would have to play. So what are we going to do?
Here is quiet. You can hear the air conditioning in that room.
Russell, what are we going to do?
Call me Russ, please.
Okay. What are we gonna do, Russ?
This guy is so still. I have to keep checking to see if the video's paused. He is just frozen. What do you think's going through his mind now, Jason?
I personally think he's contemplating confessing to it. I liked how the detective said, try to normalize these acts. We do that a lot with criminal sexual assaults, especially with children, where you try to pretend like I get why you did this. It's normal. How do you want to be labeled? I liked how he went there. Right now, I think he's on the verge of throwing up on himself. He's really contemplating confessing, and I give this detective credit, and he's got more patience than me. But I would jump the confession point at this point and ask, why did you do it? And because he's stuck on saying I did it. Maybe try the next angle of why did you kill why did you kill these women?
Are you saying giving him an out to try to justify? Help me understand why you did this. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, just change the path a little bit because he's stumbling now on confessing.
Yeah, it's stuck in his throat right now. He can't get it out. Lucian, what do you think?
I think I think the anxiety we're seeing is frustration and disappointment. I don't think he's actually that nervous. So to your point, Jason, I think what he's doing is trying to figure out how best to phrase things. But is he trying to figure out if he wants that label or not? I don't know at this point. I did notice that the first time that the fidgeting just completely froze, I was half expecting him to lunge at the guy. There was a moment where I bet this guy was thinking in his head, you know, if I took you out and got to the door, I might have a 50-50 chance of breaking out.
Yeah, it could be. I think there's a lot of calculus running through his head right now. Yeah. And we'll find out, I think, a little later in the video what some of those equations in his head are. But I think he's running through, you're at my house with a search warrant. What could you possibly find? And how much he gives weight on this evidence. But I think at this point, I think the evidence is breaking him. I don't think he's seeing a way out with the corner that he's found himself into. Yeah, and one more thing. So I'm seeing a little bit different on the information. I don't think he's weighing the information so much as how he's going to play the next. I think he's looking ahead to figuring out how he's going to say the next few things in order to either soothe his own ego. I think he's thinking more about that label that Jason mentioned. It could be. Let's finish up this little segment.
Is Jessica somewhere we can find her easily? Like, is this something where I can make a call and tell somebody to go to a location and they're going to find her, or is this something where we have to go and take a walk?
Great question.
He didn't say, I don't know.
Which direction are we heading in here?
He's actually trying to stare down the interrogator.
Yeah, I'm really turning the heat on now. I'm actually going to say, where's Jessica? Stop the bullshit at this point.
You know what? I think the investigators got him gripped. I'd let him bake. It's coming apart.
Russ. maybe this would help. Can you tell me what the issue is you're struggling with?
And he is so still. The video is broke. Do you think ears ringing?
What's the issue you're struggling with?
Okay, now I think this guy's a psychopath.
Just not getting.
Yep. He's
It's hard to believe this is happening.
yeah, he's getting cold.
Why is that?
I just want to pause it for a second. Lamar says SEER training kicked in silent defiance. This guy has had Canadian, it could be U.S. SEER training, but Canadian at least version of SEER training, which is survive, escape, and evade training for people who may be captive pilots who may go down and become combative or combat POWs. And I want to give Lamar, who's normally on our show, guys, but today's his birthday. So I want to give him a happy birthday out there to Lamar. Happy birthday, Lamar. But good point you bring up there. Definitely could have a second career as a mannequin. Dude can stay.
Why is it hard to believe?
It's just hard to believe.
Whose decision was it? And we're going to find out the answer to this anyway. But whose decision was it to issue the directive to the base personnel that nobody had to speak to the police and to seek legal counsel before they were questioned? It's my
I don't
understanding.
think that was...
My understanding that direction came from somebody that reports to you. What do you think they're going to say, Russ?
No.
What do you think they're going to say? All right, and let's step back for a second here, okay? I really don't think it benefits you or makes you look any better to start debating the little issues,
No,
okay?
but that is news to me.
Okay.
I have a legal officer that reports to me
Yeah.
who may have given that direction.
Okay.
But that's the first time I've heard it. If that's true, that's the first time I've heard that.
All right, and that may be the case, but how does it look? Right? We're not even dealing with something that's really even evidence because it's not needed. I mean, when you have DNA and all this other stuff, that's not even.
What
really
was the
an issue.
direction?
I don't recall, but it was something along the lines of telling the people on the base that they weren't required legally to speak with police and they should seek legal counsel before they decide to speak. But
Well, if that was actually said, it would not have been to the base at large. It may have been to the individual, the boyfriend who is the suspect.
okay, my understanding it went out to all personnel.
No, absolutely.
Maybe no, only under your command. I don't know.
It didn't.
Okay, that's
I
fine.
did never see it.
That's fine. Now let's get back to the issue. What's that?
So you talk about perception. My only two immediate concerns from a perception perspective are what my wife must be going through right now,
Yeah.
and the impact this is going to have on the Canadian Forces.
Where do we go? Russ, is there anything you want from me? Is there anything you want me to explain? Is there something missing that you're struggling with that I can shed some light on for you?
I'm struggling with how upset my wife is right now.
Russ, what are you looking for?
A way out. I'm looking for a way out.
I'm concerned that they're tearing apart my wife's brand new house.
So am I. But if nobody tells them what's there and what's not, they don't have any choice. Computers will be brought to Microsoft in California. They'll be picked apart. You can't erase things from computers.
Okay, that's our first segment. Any predictions on whether this guy's going to break or not before we go to the next clip?
I'm going to say yeah.
Lucian, do you have a vote?
I think it depends. The interrogator is doing a great job of reading this guy's personality. But I think most of what we're seeing in the last few minutes here is him being disappointed that he got caught. And he's trying to find reasons to transfer, to explain that disappointment. My wife's house is going to get torn apart. I don't know if he'll break on this one. And I'm not sure it's necessary for him to at this point. I think he might try and go by implication, saying, well, you think all this stuff. Let's see how it plays out.
What about an attorney? Do you think that's a possibility?
He should have done that at Howard. He should have done that 45 minutes ago.
Before they got the box. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure why he hasn't asked for one yet.
Okay. I'm gonna let him know. There's no way that we can get through the entire interrogation video, but I'm going to play it, and we're going to get to a conclusion before the end of the show, and we can take it up in an after party space if people like to. But let's get this other video rolling, folks. We're going to be short on time.
So do I. Do we talk?
I want to minimize the impact on my wife.
So do I.
So how do we do that?
Well, we start by telling the truth.
I believe what we saw in the last part of the last video was a slow breaking, and it was like the tree that was starting to fall. It just took it a long time to fall, but I believe it's about to impact the ground.
Okay.
Okay. So where is she?
Get a map.
Is she close to where she lives? I've got maps of that general area. Which town is she near? Why don't we start there?
I'm not sure if you give me a map of that covers Calagar down to the highway and over to Tweed and south, I'll show you.
Let me see what I got here. I might have something. Is she inside, outside? Probably the biggest area I have there, Russ.
Yeah, you need more. You need a real map.
So where am I going on here to get to her?
In this block here.
Okay. So you're pointing to
a detailed map of that area, and I'll show you where she is.
Okay. Is she close to a road?
Yep.
All right. Is it something where is she buried, or is she somewhere where if you walk there you would fairly easily see her?
It's here.
Okay. So she's south of 7, east of Tweed,
Mm-hmm.
west of 41.
Mm-hmm.
And what's this road here?
Not sure.
Neither am I. Okay. I'll be right back, okay? Do you want any water or anything?
Sure.
Okay, I'll be right back.
My mouth is pretty dry with all this.
How long has she been there for?
A little over a week.
Was it fairly quick from the time she left?
Friday night.
Friday night?
Yep.
So where was she between Thursday night and Friday night?
In Tweed.
With you?
Yep.
How long was she alive for?
Almost 24 hours, not quite.
Okay. Russ? You're doing the right thing here. Okay.
Well,
Still your
again,
friend.
I'm interested in making my wife's life a little easier. And
Okay.
her family as well.
Well, we share that
But
interest.
there's no, your time in Ottawa is wasted, really. I'll tell you where the Emerson cards are.
Where are they?
They're in the house there, but
In Ottawa?
yeah.
Whereabouts?
Some in the camera bag, which they would have found in my office.
Mm-hmm.
And when you walk into the office on the left side, there's a desk of drawers, set
Okay.
of drawers, like a filing cabinet, wooden, IKEA. In one of the top 2 drawers, and there's a plastic divider,
Yeah.
and there's inside there are 2 memory cards,
Okay.
which are blank, but I'm sure they can be
And whose images are on those cards?
well, I've erased them, but I expect you'll be able to draw images of Jessica and I.
What about Marie?
There may be images on there as well.
And the 2 women from September?
Yep.
Okay. Do you have those images stored anywhere else?
Yeah, there are 2 hard drives in the house in Ottawa. I can draw you a little picture if you like.
Sure. Do you want to do that now while I'm
Sure.
getting them out? Okay. Want anything to eat or anything?
All right, folks. We dealing with a psychopath.
Well, he's certainly cold. I don't know if, well, avoiding the clinical definitions, he's certainly leaning in that direction. He's he's not showing remorse for his actions. He's showing disappointment that he got caught. I mean, that seems pretty clear. And he's confidently disclosing where evidence is. And he's not saying there's no hint in his voice of additional distress. He's pretty cold at the moment.
You're not seeing a lot of empathy, right?
Nope.
Jason, what do you think?
Lack of remorse, empathy, nothing is there. He's very cold. I don't know the clinical definition of psychopath. I would say he's absolutely homicidal and a sexual deviant. But the no remorse thing is, again, normal person would be, I'm sorry, I fucked up. And this guy is showing none of that.
Well, my point is, for an interrogator, if you've got someone who's not a psychopath and less sophisticated, you can use their own emotions against them. And I think this investigator did do that in a way, but I think he played this very, very smartly in dealing with a guy who's a colonel, who's beyond reproach, but he's not questioned most of the time. He inched into that very slowly. He dropped down rocks or concrete things directly in front of him and laid out a scenario about, hey, the stuff I don't know, I'm going to know soon, and put this guy into a corner to where he had made a choice, get an attorney or tell the truth to try to mitigate it for his family, the impact on his family. But I think he definitely, and I'm not giving the clinical definition of a psychopath, I'm using it as a general term, but this type of person, I believe, you have to approach differently in an interview versus some of the other subjects we've seen over the last few episodes.
Well, yeah, and I think what finally got him to break was the appeal to honor, right? He was he put more emphasis, the subject put more emphasis on his on appearances and honor and integrity, which is ironic given what he's apparently done. But the investigator played right into that. He's really good.
Well, and I think too that some of the calculation that we saw at the end of the last video was him after he learned that there was a warrant at the house, which I think was the nail in the coffin for him. How well did he cover his tracks? And of course, he says, I don't want my house torn up. I'll tell you where the SD cards are. And no one said anything about pictures or videos of the offenses, obviously. But he gave that up pretty quick. I think he's trying to mitigate the damage and the impact that's going to crater his life through going through this. But I would put him in the category of a psychopath. And if I was an interrogator, I would try to deal with him that way. You're not going to go back to some of the others we've seen. You can get their emotions up to the point where their body betrays them physiologically. They're giving off clues. They're coming apart right there in your sight. They're coming apart. This is a guy that he comes apart a little bit different, but his is a calculated move on what's the next best strategy to employ here. But let's keep the video moving.
Do that with you, okay? Sure.
While they're shuffling through papers and drawing diagrams.
But I do want to talk to you again.
That's the plan, okay? I'll be right back.
Okay, that's a good indication. I do want to talk to you again. He's saying I only want to talk to you. He doesn't want to talk to anyone else. That means this investigator's built a rapport that's successful. I'm going to give him that. Good job on the investigator on this part. But guys, we're not going to be able to get through the entire video, so I'm going to kind of let this play. Jason, Lucian, if you have any comments, we'll just kind of talk over during quiet points, but we need to get this video moving. Otherwise, there's some key parts of this we may not be able to reveal in the next half hour.
How you make it up there? Thank you. waking up.
Yeah, he was thirsty.
Somebody running around looking for an actual map, but I did the same thing with the Google Maps. We just have to glue them up a little bit more. This is the biggest of the area. Well, this might have better parameters for you. Here's Tweed.
From this intersection on the side of the road.
And what road is that? Kerry? South of, can't read that word. East Hungerford? Does that make sense? Oh, there it is there. Okay. How far off the road is she?
40 feet.
Is she covered with anything?
She's wrapped up.
In
She's
what?
on the surface. Just a gray something or other cover.
Okay.
Speaking about Jessica
The obvious
Boyd,
question I'm going to have for you is, when they go there, and they'll be there shortly, they're going to find her?
Oh yeah.
Okay. I'll be right back. You look like you want to say something.
Just that this place, my wife, it's been a dream for the better part of a year, so I'm keen to get them what they need and so they can leave her alone.
Okay. Well, we're going to do our best to keep that as low key as possible, okay? What do you want to talk about?
Because it's pretty wide open now, eh?
Yeah.
What do you want to know?
Well, do you want to work forwards or backwards?
Doesn't matter.
Well, why don't we start with Jessica?
Okay.
How does that start for you?
I saw her in her house on her treadmill. Wednesday night, I guess. Then I noticed she wasn't there Thursday. So I got into the house to look around. Then, and then left. Noticed she'd come home. So I went back in. Through the back patio door while she was sleeping.
Okay.
So I woke her up. Didn't hit her. She only hit her once. Friday night.
Okay.
Well, so I raped her in her house, and then I took her to the car and took her to Tweed. And spent the day in Tweed. And then I hit her as we were walking. She thought we were leaving. Hit her on the back of the head.
What did the hit on the back of the head do?
Well, I was surprised that her skull gave way. She was there and immediately unconscious. And I strangled her.
Okay. What did you hit her with?
Flashlight.
Okay. In the house or outside the house?
In the house. Yeah, they'll find signs of that.
Where in the house did this happen?
In the main portion, just in front of the fireplace.
What do you mean they'll find signs of it?
Oh, there's quite a bit of blood. I'd expected to knock her out. But obviously generated a lot of blood.
What did she bleed onto?
The floor. It's just tile floor.
Okay. Did you clean it up or did you?
I wiped it up. I know it'll be easily spotted.
What makes you think that? Like, if I walked in that house right now, would I see it?
You wouldn't see it, not at all, but, you know, the right signs will show it, I'm sure.
Okay. So when that happened, did she have clothes on or was she naked?
Yeah,
or?
she was dressed.
Okay. So when we find her, is she going to have those clothes on too?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Marie France Como.
There was an open window in the basement of her house when she was away. I went in there a couple of nights before she came home. Looked around. I went back in there late at night when she was at home. She was on the phone in her bedroom. She actually discovered me in the basement. She was trying to get her cat to come upstairs, and the cat was in the basement, had seen me and was fixated on me in the corner. She couldn't get the cat up, so she came downstairs to try and get the cat, and I'm not sure why she came over to me. I guess the cat was staring at me, and she was wondering what the cat was staring at.
Why she have a dog?
So when she spotted me, I had the same flashlight. I subdued her. Tied her up, brought her upstairs. And strangled her later in the morning. Well, more suffocated her. Some tape. Left her there.
How did you subdue her? When you say subdued her in the basement, what did you do?
Well, I had the same flashlight, and you know, she saw me right away. So it was just I hit her a couple of times and around her head, try and knock her out. Didn't, but she was bleeding a little bit. Eventually, after a struggle, subdued her.
Okay. Any blood from that struggle?
Oh yeah. No, not a whole bunch, but a flashlight did break her skin a couple of times.
Okay. What area of the basement did that take place in?
I was hiding behind the furnace, so she spotted me right there.
Okay. Did she recognize you?
No, I had stuff on my face.
Okay. So you go upstairs, and you said she suffocated?
Well, I suffocated her. I put tape on her. I put tape on her mouth, and then I put tape on her nose and held it there so she couldn't breathe.
Dude's a Ted Bundy.
What kind of tape was it?
It's pretty rough.
Duct tape.
What happened to it?
Well, I took it with me and can't remember what actually I did with that tape, but probably threw it in the garbage.
Did you use tape for any other purposes?
No.
Okay. Did she ever recognize you through this whole episode?
No.
What did you say you had on your face?
I had just a cover for my head, just a sports pullover type, like just a little cap kind of thing.
Okay.
Just a lycra or something, and just a headband over my nose and mouth, so it covered most everything but my eyes.
Okay. Now this flashlight, where is that now?
In Tweed.
In the house?
Yep.
What kind of flashlight is it?
It's a red 3 double D. I'm not sure what brand it is, but it's a metal, one of these aluminum.
This is like a mag
It's like a
light,
big,
police flashlight, 3-cell flashlight, pretty heavy duty.
I can't remember what brand of aircraft aluminum flashlights already still are. Anyway, it's a bigger one of those.
Did you take anything out of Marie France's house or Jessica Lloyd's house?
Yeah, some of their underwear.
Okay.
That's all.
And where is that?
They're right here. I got them. See?
It's in some
Stole panties.
boxes in the basement here in Ottawa, in that rec room. So we just moved in, so there are boxes everywhere. So on the same side as the furnace room, sort of in the back against
That's
the
right,
wall.
folks. You heard that right. He was stealing
What do the other
panties.
boxes look like?
I think one's a scanner, the box for my scanner.
Mm-hmm.
They're all right next to each other, so a quick look through the boxes there will find it.
Okay. How much underwear is in those boxes?
Probably 60 pieces or so total.
All women's?
Yeah, 60 pieces of theirs.
Of whose?
Of Jessica's and Marie-France.
So you took 60 pieces from between the two of them?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a,
All right. And they're in like when you talk about a scanner, is it a computer scanner box?
well, a computer scanner is up in the office, and its box is down in the basement, so
Okay.
it's inside that box.
Does any of the underwear in those boxes belong to anyone other than Marie France or Jessica?
Well, it's hard
Yeah,
to tell.
there's some from each of the other two women.
Okay. Why don't we talk about those two women? So the first one happened on the 16th, and I don't know why, I can't recall their names, but the lady that was lived closer to you.
No, Lori was closer to me.
Okay.
So the first one, I had just spotted her from our boat, actually. And I got into the house while she was asleep. Noticed that she was alone. And just hit her with my hand while she was sleeping. Subdued her. Mostly just my weight on top of her. Had her take off her pajamas. Took some pictures. Took some of her underwear and left.
And the other woman?
Same kind of deal. Went in through the back of the house. She was sleeping in her, not in her bedroom, but in her, in front of the TV. Very much the same story.
Anything different about that story? I mean, pretty much the same story and exactly the same story are two different things, right?
Yeah, no, not much different at all. I did have the flashlight that time. I hit her with a flashlight. Didn't think it would knock her out. Didn't. So, and I subdued her with my weight. Took off her clothes, took some pictures, and left.
Why do you think these things happen?
Because he's a sadist. Yeah.
Oh.
That's why it happened.
Have you spent much time thinking about that?
Wow.
About why?
Yeah.
And these are his photographs.
Yeah.
These three folks. Took them himself.
But I don't know the answers. And I'm pretty sure the answers don't matter.
Well, let me ask you this: did you like or dislike these women?
I didn't know any of them.
Okay.
I had met Maddie France that one time in our airplane.
Okay. No, I guess when you're going through these things, are you? Well, let's talk about Jessica because she was there with you for the whole day, right?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of feelings were you experiencing while you were with her that day?
Oh, she was a very nice girl.
Can you tell me why you killed her? Right? Do you know why you killed her?
Well, I think I killed her because I knew that her story would be recognized.
Her story would be recognized? How do you mean?
Well, because she knew I was taking pictures.
Mm-hmm.
So because of the two stories in Tweed, that would have been a fairly quite obvious.
So if you didn't take pictures, what would you have done with her?
I don't know.
I mean, she's at your house, right? Well, let me ask you this. Is it 2 lived, right? And 2 died. What was the difference in your mind between?
Well, the attention the first 2 got was very much focused on, obviously, or for obvious reasons, the pictures I took. So anybody else telling stories about pictures, right, would have been a fairly straight line.
Okay, but when this thing happened with Marie France, did you believe that you were already a suspect for what happened in Tweed?
No.
So what were you concerned about?
Well, because I was pretty sure that she was serving military, right?
Mm-hmm.
It would have been difficult for investigators to ignore that connection.
Okay. Yeah, makes sense. All right, folks, that's all the video we're going to get to tonight. I think we've seen what we wanted to see. Jason, Lucien, any final comments on this? And I'm just going to put this picture up while we talk.
No, I don't. I'm going to commend the investigator on this. I had much patience, did a great job. The goal of these is to get the confession, but even in this case, I think enough evidence would have convicted him without the confession, but kudos to the investigator. I'm very impressed with how he handled that.
Lucien?
Yeah, pretty much the same. He did the playing up the honor side of things, making the peer connection. How dare you disrespect me? And actually, he didn't feel affronted at that. It was disappointed that you did not respect me enough to tell me the truth right off the bat. This guy's cold. He probably is the closest thing to an actual psychopath we've seen in these series. There's no remorse, and at some point, it sounds like he's bragging.
I agree. I think he fits the mold of what I would call like I say, not clinically, but I can't do that. I'm not a doctor, but as an interrogator, if I sat across from this guy, I would treat him like a psychopath. I would treat him like a Ted Bundy. One that doesn't have empathy. I'm not going to be able to draw on his empathy about, hey, return the body for the family. Can't think about them. He doesn't care about that. He cares about the impact of his life of being caught, not the impact of the people that survived or the family members of his victims. He's not concerned about their impact. He's only concerned about the impact of his own life. And he pled guilty to 88 charges. Both the kidnapping, murder, unlawful restraint, sexual assault of the 2 dead ladies, but also evidently 86 more panty thefts. He broke into houses and stole underwear, tried them on, and took pictures of himself to be the proud colonel in the Canadian Air Force there. And I'm not besmirching the Canadian Air Force for any of my Canadian listeners out there. I would say the same thing if this was a United States Air Force colonel. It's despicable. It's despicable of his actions, and I think that he's a very sick man. But in Canada, he received 2 life terms in prison with no chance of parole for 25 years. So evidently, he's eligible for parole after 25 years. So that means somewhere around 2027, 2028, this cat could be out doing European things in Canada. I hope that's not the case, but evidently that's the sentence that he can get. But guys, that's our show for the night. Give us a follow on X. Give us a follow on Rumble. Give us a follow on YouTube. And also come join our after party. Give us about 15 minutes on X. If you want a direct invite to it, give me a DM and I'll get you one. Also join our community on Night Court, our Night Court community on X. It'll keep you up to date all of our shows. And our next one coming up is Friday, which is the grand jury. We've got a panel of 5 volunteers who are going to sit as a grand jury and listen to some cases and give their verdict. I want to thank everybody for showing up, and I want to thank my co-hosts tonight, my panel, Jason and Lucian, for taking the time out to watch this. Thanks, folks.
Did you ever get any money from Costello?
No.
And did you ever get any money from Meyer Lansky?
I never got money from any of those fellas.
None of those
None
fellas?
of those fellas. None of these that I've been reading about, or none that I knew. They never gave me anything.
None of the Fichettes?
No.
You
I
think-
don't even speak to the... I mean, I met that Charlie once or twice. I don't even talk to him.
You don't like him?
I was conscious of the fact that he had a reputation for being an outstanding bookmaker.
You ever hear him referred to as the Prime Minister of the Underworld?
That term I did not.
You're also known as Duck Corella. I refuse to answer on the grounds of negligence. If you got any business, I refuse to answer on the grounds of attempt to criminal. If you have any profession, I refuse to answer on the grounds of negligence. If you have any occupation, I refuse to answer on the grounds of negligence. Are you a known racketeer?